I'd like to do roll call. Roger, I'm here. Maliabo,
Here.
Paul Shant.
Here. You got it right.
I got it right this time. Panja,
Yes.
all right. Johns, Sylvia. I think she's still muted out there. Kolash,
Here.
Shannon, not here. Ismail,
Here.
Sylvia, are you there? I guess she will join us when she can. I would like to entertain a volunteer for the reading of the Native American Land Acknowledgement. Bijou as volunteer.
Thank you. We meet today in the community of Iowa City, which now occupies the homeland of Native American nations to whom we owe our commitment and dedication. The area of Iowa City was within the homelands of the Iowa, Meskwaki, and Sauk. And because history is complex and time goes far back beyond memory, we also acknowledge the ancient connections of many other indigenous people here. The history of broken treaties and forced removal that dispossessed indigenous people of their homeland was and is an act of colonization and genocide that we cannot erase. We implore the Iowa City community to commit to understanding and addressing these injustices as we work toward equity, restoration, and reparations.
Thank you, Bijou. Approval of the April 25th, 2023 meeting minutes. I'd like to entertain a motion for approval.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
Moved by Kelsey,
I'll second.
second by Bijou. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. No opposition. Public comments of item are not on the agenda. Commentator shall address the commission for no more than 5 minutes. Commissioners should not engage in discussion with the public or one another concerning said item. Mr. Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm a preacher, 5 minutes. I'm here because it's in my heart. I've been working on human rights matters for a long time, since the 70s in Pierce County, Washington, in Muskegon County, Michigan, Dubuque County, Butler County, Marion County, and Johnson County, Iowa. Significant in this work is refugee resettlement. I'm particularly concerned about always saying what we mean. And so I commend to you the wonderful lens you received in this last week from the Human Rights Commission and the fine work that the commission office did under Director Stephanie's leadership. The matter particularly is always say what we mean, and that we've discovered DEI doesn't do what we mean. We need to do EDI. I'm taking that message with me to the noon Rotary committee, noon Rotary lunch on June 15th. I deliver what's currently called the DEI moment. And so I will bring an EDI moment, and I will bring visuals so people understand how significant this is. It's significant also for you to know, because Canada, United Kingdom, internationally, it's known. So this article I have forwarded not only to my group in Rotary, I've also forwarded the lens to the executive director of Rotary International in Sweden, that we are on this. And I want you to be on this, particularly always a commission saying what you mean. I was here with you last month and talked about another matter in which I want you to say what you mean. In the midst of all of this is my gratitude and my passion. Thank you for being commissioners and for the time you invest.
Thank you, Mark. Item 5, outreach and engagement update from the police department. My understanding that Officer Bailey is not present. He is dealing with some situation in the South District. So we're gonna get his updates at the next meeting. Item 6 is actually what Mark is talking about, a request to change the Native American land acknowledgement to the First Nation land acknowledgement. I have some discussion time here. Anybody have anything to say about this item? Yes, Mark. Yes, you can speak.
What you have, Bijou, read for you today is a collaborative effort with the Human Rights Commission and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission that was put together. So the TRC probably needs to be in on this decision. But I've written one sentence that I think is relevant for your consideration. The term First Nations, while mostly used in Canada for the original inhabitants of the land, is increasingly being accepted and used by many Native Americans in the United States and by Indigenous peoples worldwide. It is to this end that I'm encouraging you the name change. With my encouragement is my understanding and encouragement that you work with TRC to get this right so you say what you mean.
I have some question, Mark. Maybe you can entertain some question. My understanding is that this First Nation is widely used in Canada.
That's correct.
Okay. My also understanding from just doing my own research, I'm starting to see more and more people are starting to change this instead of First Nation land acknowledgement or Native American land acknowledgement, more to Indigenous land acknowledgement. Have you seen any of that or heard of any of that? Because I think maybe that's taking it a step further.
Yeah, I've heard that, though, and I appreciate your research. Indigenous is more professional language. First Nation is more accessible. That's all. It's the same thing. We're talking, I'm free associating with that word Indigenous, that increasingly the DNR recognizes that brown trout are indigenous.
Yeah.
But they're calling them now native because that's what the fishers want to call them. Brown trout are native to Iowa. It's a word thing, but it's important for you to say what you mean. Yeah. So I appreciate your research.
I could say a few words here.
Yes.
So first, Mark, thanks for bringing this to us. And it's useful to, I think, reflect on these things to make sure that they're living documents that we don't just say in a performative way when we meet, but also that it channels into action. And so I think, in working on how we might address and prevent genocides in our community and mass violences of all kinds around the world, one of the things that's come up in my work on land acknowledgements is that the words do matter, certainly. The partnerships matter more, and beyond that, the actions matter most. And so I think your encouragement for us to maybe have a few individuals who reconsider the land acknowledgement, not necessarily, in my opinion, for its text, but for its purpose, I think would be of interest to me to encourage the commission to consider. I would just say that I think my best understanding is that language used should be that's preferred by our local groups, and that they should have a voice in how they're represented here, and not just in a monolithic and abstract way, but actually that they're active members at the table and as we're considering this. So personally, I wouldn't adjust any specific language right now without the members of our community that it affects involved. But I would want to, I would be interested, and I would invite anyone else on the commission who's also interested to engage with me in reopening this potentially with our community partners, because we have a great wealth of resources here in our community.
Thank you, Kelsey. Because I was also thinking about maybe possibly reaching out to our friends at Great Plain, maybe about what's their feelings or emotion behind the changing of the name. I agree with Kelsey. Sometimes, yeah, we have to say what we mean. But I think we also have to get the people who are in the community with respect to work with them on any changing of the language that addresses matter in that community. So I'm very open to changing that, but I like the possibility of maybe having a discussion with our friend in this particular community about their feelings on changing that as well. I am very optimistic on the First Nation or indigenous land, but I like to have that discussion maybe with some representative from the Great Plain community.
One other small matter, I was with some religious and they noticed late in the, maybe it's at the very end, there is a word in explore. Do you see that word? Explore, I don't have it in front of me.
We explore the Iowa City. We explore the Iowa City community to commit to understanding and addressing these injustices.
Yeah,
that
and
what
the
you're talking
interesting thing in this religious, professional religious was, why wasn't it the word encourage rather than explore? They didn't think that it was so mysterious.
Or I wonder if it's supposed to be implore.
So in ours,
Implore,
it is, I think
It
it's
is
a typo.
implore.
In our documents, we have that we implore, but I think to your
yep.
point, I think your point still stands, Mark.
Yes, it is.
The distinction between even imploring the community versus you had a word such as encourage or welcome in or invite in language like that. I think it's a point well taken that I think we could definitely take further on into our, sounds like further conversations that we'll invite with other leaders.
Sounds like you have a direction. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Sorry, Mark, thank you so much. Actually, thank you for always coming here to remind us of that and for being that voice for the community that's not coming. And I agree with my colleagues that it's good to have that representation in that community to be here. Say what you mean, yes, and action is great, but it has to come from them. We have to say what we mean from what they want us to say. So if you can also be part of it, and they can be, if you know some leaders in the community to come along or to come and meet with us in the TRC. So we want to know what they want us to say so we can mean it the way they want it to. Thank you.
Yeah, I think originally when we worked with TRC on this, I think Kevo was pretty involved, and I think Ashley was involved, and I think there was a couple members of the Great Plains Society that was also involved in the development of this. So I would like to move in that direction of maybe Kelsey as volunteer, I can volunteer myself to maybe contacting a couple members of the Great Plain organization and sitting down with them, just exploring and coming up. Mark, I'd like you to be involved in that too, if you are. Yes. So do we need to vote on that, Stephanie, or just go in that direction? Yes. Okay. So Kelsey and I probably can talk and take the lead on this one and go from there. So thank you. Thank you very much, Mark.
Yes.
We appreciate always reminding us that we have to say what we mean and we have to lead by example. So I appreciate that always. I always appreciate that about you. So. Item number 7, committees reports. I'll start with building bridges.
Sure. So I can do this fairly briefly. We did not gather. We did not meet since the last time we had a Human Rights Commission meeting.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we have no updates there, but summer is ahead of us. The rest of the year is in front of us. And so we have some ambitions. Don't worry, but we need to meet again.
Awesome. That'd be great. B, reciprocal relationship. I'm the only member here since Sylvia's traveling and Suyan is not here. We also did not meet because we had so many events going on. We had the Youth Award. We had the first ever Asian Fest in Coralville where we all attended. And we also had the AAPI event here at the Rec Center that we all attended as well. So we did not find the time to meet with all of our schedule, but we will be meeting early next month and to keep our summer plans going. So breaking bread.
Same with Breaking Bread. We didn't have a chance to meet.
It was a
but-
busy month.
It was very busy. Yes, yes. But no, we will. It is just the two of us, Ahmed and I.
Yeah.
And so, if we hopefully will fill the vacancy and have someone else on Breaking Bread. But yes, we'll look to meet at some point in June and similar to the other two subcommittees.
Well, we have the new vacancy already publicized, so hopefully the council will be getting the application soon, so we can fill Badri's position. For those of you who do not know, Badri resigned from the commission due to personal and health reasons. So, item 8, favorite event, the availability of staff for because we are one of the sponsors for the Pride Day, and we usually get a table. So last year, a few of us manned the table. I think it was me, Ashley, and Sylvia. We just break out in shift. So we need some representation out there again. I'll be willing to do sometime too. We can break it up. That's on Saturday, June 17. The parade starts at noon. What time do we actually have to be there with the table, Stephanie?
This says that somebody has to be there 1 to 6, and I believe you set up. This is all they sent, and so I would have to go back to their website to get your specific answer, but if I recall last year, I kind of thought that you guys set the table and then the parade, and then I thought you had to be there before the parade.
Yeah, I think we had to be there before the parade. So I think we set up the table probably around like 11:30, because the festivity is already going on and the parade actually starts at noon. So I'll be willing to do an earlier shift because I have a busy evening. So, and last year we actually ran out of all the material probably by 3. So yeah, it was our table was just right by the stage. So everybody that was going to the stage was passing by our table, and we had a lot of people. It was a great event. It was a very learning and educational event, and just to see people coming from all over Iowa. This is not just people from Iowa City. We met people from Des Moines, met people from close to Wisconsin that was coming to our Pride event. So it was a big event. So I'll be willing to set up the table and maybe do a fish shift, and so I can get out of here for I'll set up the table maybe around 11.
I'm flexible to do other shifts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's Roger,
I'm a maybe.
Janvi, Bijou,
I
maybe.
can come and set up the table at 11 to sneak out of something.
Okay.
I can help. I just don't know when. I just gotta check my schedule, but
Yeah.
I can send an email depending on what time's available. and
Okay.
See.
So can you, those of you that think you can help, maybe just shoot Stephanie an email by the end of the week so we can get the schedule all planned out?
Mhm.
That'd be great. You will enjoy the parade. You'll see the parade will come right in front of you, and you will also enjoy all the performance if we get the same spot, which I don't think we're in charge of this spot.
Sounds like a prime spot.
It was a prime spot. It was right outside of Java House. So you can also run to Java for some. Yes. So please send the email to Stephanie, then we'll set up the schedule, then we'll publicize it, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'll be there,
Well,
but I'm also in charge of the
Yes.
booth for the alumni
Yes.
group. And I'm the only member of that board in Iowa City.
Yeah,
So if I
So
am
you
able to
start.
recruit some others to help staff that booth,
Yeah.
then I'll be able to come over and hang out with you guys for a little bit. But-
even if you can't man the table, stop by.
Mhm.
If you are part of the celebration, stop by, chat with us, and it's just a great event. So, and you can see all my geared up, I have a really nice rainbow glasses that I wear every year. It's prescription. I order it for that. Commitment, yes. Okay, Thank you, guys. We're moving fast today. Correspondence. We actually have a correspondence in our package today. We just received here. Stephanie just informed me from Johnson County regarding Juneteenth. If we can take a few minutes to read it.
I can kind of summarize. Basically, they're doing a, what are they calling it? A community health fair, health education and resource fair. So this would be the Friday right before Pride,
Uh-huh.
and it would be 4 to 6 in the Ped Mall. And so it would be a 2 hour, well, it'd probably be more of a 3.5 hour commitment for setup and takedown, but 4 to 6 on the Ped Mall as part of the Juneteenth festivities.
And they want us to have a table, a booth.
Correct. They're asking.
That's a Friday.
That's a Friday before Pride.
It's the night before Pride. I'll be out of town.
I'll be willing to volunteer.
I think I can too.
Yeah.
I can come after like 5 just because I work till 5, but
Yep.
I can stop like later on.
Just, I'm traveling to Medellin, Colombia that week, and I was just looking at really terrible flight schedules. That I think means I have to leave on the Friday, and I will also unfortunately miss the Pride Day on the Saturday too. But if that changes, I'll reach out to Stephanie because I might be able to help with the Friday.
Yes. So that one is 4 to 6. Do we need to get there probably like 3:30? Or 3?
Probably, yeah, a little after 3. In both of these events, the commission needs to have their own table.
Yeah.
So we do have a table and chairs in the office. Have to be totally candid. It's one of those folding tables that have like the strap,
Yeah.
but it's still not that light to me, even though it's supposed to be like, I think 45 pounds, but
Mhm.
just so you know that. So if somebody has a lighter table, you might want to use that, but if you don't, then that table and those 2 chairs are available. And then there's handouts for both Juneteenth and Pride that we'll need to make arrangements, so you have giveaways for folks too. So
Mhm.
I have one of those table with the folds up with the handle too, so I can just bring that. I think it's a 6 foot.
that's probably what the one in the office
Yeah.
is, but do you still want the 2 chairs we have? I mean, they're just folding like the rental chairs you get.
Yeah.
So those
Oh.
are easy to maneuver. The table just is a little heavy to me.
Okay, I'll bring the table. I'll
Okay.
commit to bringing the table. Then I can just swing by here and pick up those chairs.
In the handouts.
Yes, and the handouts. So, okay,
Yeah, I'll be able to be there on Friday and Saturday.
awesome. We got a good group. Thank you. Staff announcements. Stephanie, you up?
I don't think I have anything. I think most of the announcements, if you subscribe to the listserv, you've probably seen, so. But I do want to say this, though, the Youth Awards, the video shows what an amazing job that you all did. The youth in this area are really doing some great, impressive things, but it's just a great event. I just appreciate you guys coming out and representing. And the next kind of big event is the awards breakfast, which is similar but on a smaller scale. So, but yeah, great job with the Youth Awards. Have heard very positive things, and just waiting. The photographer went out of the country for a wedding, but I believe he is back now. So hoping to get those pictures sent out to everyone by the end of this month. So.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Commission announcement. Well, before we even get to announcement, I just want to take the time also to thank Stephanie. You know, yes, we showed up to the event, but she organized the event and all the preparation, all the planning. It was an amazing event. How we can have 42 some youth, and I think we did all the presentation probably less than an hour.
Yeah.
And it was just because of the organization, people really enjoyed themselves, the family that came, the youth that are doing amazing things. So I just want to give the credit again to Stephanie for putting such an amazing event. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It takes a village though, so I
Yes.
can't take all the credit.
Yes.
So, but thank you. I do appreciate it.
But you know, in that village, sometimes there's always the elder, the leaders. The leaders, you know, the village have the elders, organization have leaders. So your leadership is what makes it flow so smoothly.
Well,
So,
thank you.
thank you. Man, we're flying. I know it's a beautiful day out there. You all want to get out there to do things. So commissioner announcement. This item includes opportunity for brief update from commissioner, and commissioner shall not engage in discussion on the announcement. Anybody want to volunteer, or should we just start at the end and move this way? Janvi?
I'll take some time to think. So I'm
So,
not very
yeah, so you want over there to start?
Sure,
Oh, I can start too.
I can start.
Okay.
Rest our announcements, nothing really relating to work, but just been paying attention to everything that's going on in Sudan. As you all know, there's a lot going on there with
Yeah.
the current situation, but outside of that, really no commissioner related updates, just as usual.
Thank you.
We've discussed Pride. I think, I would encourage everyone to attend. This year especially has been a pretty rough year with the legislative session that, one representative from Cedar Rapids described it as the most hateful and destructive Iowa Assembly session in recent memory, and it really has been. They're all, the LGBTQ community is feeling threatened, and Pride this year will be a good opportunity to show support and stand with that group, and especially our trans siblings who are receiving the brunt of the hate and the legislation. So just want to encourage everyone to attend if you can. Other than that, I think one of the youth at the awards came up to Kelsey and I afterwards and was talking about her concerns for the situation in Sudan as well. And I think this might be a good opportunity for another public statement from the commission in
I agree.
so I'm happy to help with that since I have experience crafting those. If anyone wants to, just let me know and we can put something together and have that ready we can vote on it in the next meeting.
Thank you, Doug, for volunteering.
For me, along with the Sudan and Congo, so they're still fighting. And now I think it's getting worse because there's tribe people that fight over land, and now they're going into the city in Kinshasa and they are killing each other. And I think the government is getting even way more involved, and a lot of children have been killed for that have no part of that. So I will appreciate, I'll be looking for you for that statement for Congo as well. On May 8th, there was an accident again in Iowa for a Congolese family that came from Illinois. Two of them just got here from Africa, from Congo. They don't have any papers, so they don't know where they're going to bury them. So maybe I must send you guys some information to support them because of the funeral costs, if you guys can. My other one is just an idea about 4th of July parade for the human rights. If we can be on the parade so people know us more, if that's okay. I don't know about, I think we talked about it before, Stephanie, but I don't know what you guys think about that idea, to have the human rights, if you guys are available to be in a parade with something with the human rights and stuff, or where we can pass.
I think Coralville has the 4th of July
Yes,
parade.
it is
I-
Coralville.
Oh, we don't.
I'm not sure Iowa City does.
It's Coralville.
It's Coralville. My bad, I'm sorry. Maybe it's the football
The homecoming.
homecoming, then I'm sorry, my bad.
Oh, so I'll
Homecoming.
make a note for homecoming because they probably, okay.
Okay, thank you, Bishop. I don't have much announcement either. I just want to say that, this past month or this month, it was awesome to attend some of the event that was going out there, and the first ever Asian Fest in Coralville was amazing. The turnout, even with the rain coming in and displacing people, then it was just amazing to see. Sometimes when we talk Asian, obvious, we see some of our friend from the Iowa City Area Chinese Association, but it was more than that. It was reaching out to every community that are representing the Asian community. It was amazing. They had great food booth and music, dances from all over the area. It was an amazing event. So we give a lot of kudos for High of and Coralville and the group that organized that. So it was just an amazing event to see, and I hope it can only get bigger from here. So it was great. Youth Award was awesome to see so many youth, to see so many family out there, just to hear those stories of the amazing things the youth are doing. It's great. The number almost double from 24 last year to about 42 this year. So I can only see those numbers going up. So we got to give our youth some credit. They're doing amazing thing in our community. The AAPI events that we had at the rec center, it was good turnout for the first one for them to have. It was in collaboration with the Iowa City Rec Department, and it was sponsored by the HRC. So it was good turnout. Even won some bids on paintings and things like that. So it was really good. Like Doug said, this year, Prime Celebration, Prime Month, it's very important, especially with everything that we see going on in the state of Iowa. We need to be out there supporting especially our trans youth. This is really the year for us to speak louder because I know Iowa City, we are quote unquote woke, but the rest of the state is not. And the things that's getting passed in Des Moines, it's just it's sad, for lack of a better word. So I know our school district is working very hard to support our youth in the school. So as human rights, we just need to speak louder. So I think I agree with Doug that this is probably the time we put a more public statement out there about what's going on in Sudan, what's going on in Congo, and also what's going on in our own state here. So. And for fun, this year, I was the head soccer coach for Southeast Junior High. This is the first ever inaugural soccer league for boys in junior high. And it was so much fun. I just forgot how much fun I have playing and coaching soccer. We had 101 boys go out for soccer. So it was amazing. And the thing about soccer, it's an international sport. So you have kids from all over the world playing soccer. And you can see the bonding, the camaraderie that was created. We have kids that are not speaking English, and you see other kids that are speaking Spanish, carrying them, teaching them. And we have kids coming from Africa, kids from Congo, from Sudan, from Ethiopia, from all over the place coming together and playing soccer together. It was fun for me. It was fun for me because, when I'm trying to teach something and that kid is not speaking English, and the kids that speaks the language will try to explain to him. I say, well, teach me so I can tell them, because he has to come from the coach. So I just had so much fun coaching these boys. So I'm looking forward to next year because we had an amazing season. And we had a winning season too, which was great. And, the rivalry between City and West, that means Southeast and Northwest, which we beat them. So, yeah, so it was good. It was a good season, good fun. I'm done. Thank you.
Nice. You're too excited.
How does one follow that? I mean, I can just pile on. I mean, this is one of my favorite times of the year in Iowa City to be a citizen of Iowa City. There's just so many beautiful things that are happening, and the weather is.
Yes.
How can you complain about this weather, right? But I just wanted to add a couple of things. So the first Repair Cafe occurred on May 6th. It was fantastic. It sounds like they had a great turnout. I walked up there, I looked around, they had I think maybe 9 or 10 different booths and free volunteered services to help you repair your items so that we can really commit to environmental sustainability with our consumption of materials by repairing them rather than just replacing them. So I believe that the group is looking at how they might do a future one, but it's not yet planned yet, as far as I know. Keep that on your radar. It was really great, and I hope they do it again. I want to just mention too that in our last meeting, we heard the presentations from City Council as well as Better Together 2030. I really do feel like there is some that it would be important for us as a commission to consider the question of how might we support the implementation of values into action in the City Council strategic plan, as well as then incorporating and taking on board Better Together specific question to us of supporting them, then taking their recommendations to City Council. I haven't then actually had a chance to hear the latest update since the last time we met with them and they presented to us, but I just want to remind the commission of that I do think there's a great opportunity there. I would want to maybe say too, with the statements we're exploring, I think even considering to like what the call to action could be within all of those statements, as well as then remembering that people hold multiple identities simultaneously. And so for those who are refugees, oftentimes, if they are trans, they have to use their dead name or their previous gender identifier in order to register and receive services. And so I just want to remind folks, and I think we're all aware too of, as we're considering these issues, that when someone's going through that experience, they don't just bring in one identity, they bring in all of the identities that they hold. And then finally, I might just end my comments with a little bit of positivity too, that I was joining virtually last time because I was at the Denver, the City Summit of the Americas, which was the first of its kind in gathering mayors from all over North and South America. And it was really encouraging to see how our cities and our communities are committing themselves to global challenges, including tech and AI, environmental challenges, but also human rights and the experience of violence. There's a lot of really great strategies out there. So as you're considering and doing the work that you're doing in the community, knowing that you're not alone, but also, I mean, there's some pretty specific resources out there too, and methods and workbooks that can always be used too. So just remember that is available to you. And then next month, I will be taking just one piece of lessons in community violence intervention through the Medellin model and complicating the narrative. If you've heard about Medellin's violence reduction, you might have heard that they installed cable cars in their city and this transportation infrastructure transformed their violence experience. It's a little bit more complicated than that. It was a little bit harder than that, significantly harder. It was a multi-decade effort and concerted effort across multiple departments of the city in order to address the nature of their violence and support the community and actually empower the community to make choices about how money was spent within specific neighborhoods and what resources they needed there. So I'll be in Medellin next month, and I'll be sure to share any resources that come out from that with the group too. Thanks.
Okay, I got some time to probably organize my thoughts. As I was winding down the semester last week, also was working with IC Compassion and Shelter House at the same time with refugee and immigrant population, and it's just been a little disappointing, I would say, from the human rights perspective, especially because when somebody is seeking asylum, has experienced violence, that's almost not an option. Services are not provided to them because asylums, generally cases are not accepted, are not approved in most cases. Similarly, again, speaking about the bridges and the gaps between, so there are resources available, but there are very basic and simple gaps in being able to help them get those resources. Like if you are homeless, but you're white, or a US citizen, you get immediate assistance. There is great system here in Iowa City, but the same thing if you're undocumented, you don't know the language, it's so hard we've been making number of calls, so many organizations, and it's just disappointing to be turned down by most places because there are so many of these nitty-gritties and requirements, and just makes me think and wonder of what more needs to be done and how to build bridges between those gaps. And again, talking about mental health, even things like Sudan coming up with, there's so much that's going on. And we do have a Sudanese community in Iowa City, which is doing great work in helping their own folks, but also as members of community, how responsible are we, or how much should we pitch in more? But I think like it's just so much out of awareness and out of the radar. There are so many other issues that actually come onto people's radar, but these issues do not. So I've just been thinking about those things. We have folks in the community who have children, who have family, who have parents who are either dead in the war, lost in the war, have no contact. The airport is destroyed. There's so much that's going on. So just it's been hard to just, it's like when you end therapy at one practicum site, generally it's like, okay, cool. I'm leaving here, but you'll be seen by another therapist. But again, when it comes to working with undocumented refugee population, that just stays with me, thinking of so many of them will not get services after I leave. Because it depends on if someone's willing to volunteer, then most people don't want to, because the organizations are not straightforward. You don't get like those ready-made structures. You have to go and create those structures. So just thinking of those and thinking of how we as a commission can. So I think I'm going to be sitting with that and thinking about that. And again, because we're part of building bridges, also thinking of how much more we can do. Just because I think Iowa City is doing great work, amazing work, and a lot of refugees feel very welcomed, especially after coming from violence and war. They do feel very welcomed. And I think just maybe we could do some more work on truly building those bridges between the community and the community too sometimes. Yeah, I think that's all.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I wanted also to share an email from Commissioner Shannon that she was invited to be part of the Better Together Welcome Week. So I know Better Together, when they was here, they invited us to be part of introducing that matter. So I think bringing that together so we can actually have a focus and address that something that I'd like to discuss in the future here, how we can be involved. So her getting invited, just one of our commissioners having been part of the group, and maybe we can engage her as well. So anything else for the good of the order? Stephanie, anything else?
No, we lost Sylvia.
Yeah, I saw that we lost her, so,
Oh,
well, maybe the internet is not strong in Vietnam.
maybe she's having a lot of fun.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn then.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
By Kolar, second by Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye.